Hello, thank you for joining me today. My name is Das. I'm going to be talking about trusts. This is the first in a series of videos that I will be doing on trust law, and the importance of trust. In today's video, I just want to first give an overview of what a trust is. And then I want to discuss the relationship between life and trust. And I'll do my first reason in a series of reasons, which I'll discuss in future videos, explaining the importance of trust, why you need them. But in today's video, I'll start with how you have a trust. Whether you know it or not, or accept it or not, you already have a trust. And it's when you violate that trust that you may or may not have accepted that you have. It's when you violate that trust, you start to have problems, or your beneficiaries have problems. Now, what is a trust? A trust is a written or oral or understood agreement in law where a creator, the person who creates that trust, creates the trust that is managed by trustees. And the creator can also be a trustee for the benefit of other people, known as the beneficiaries. There are three parties to the trust: the creator, also known as the settler or founder, the trustee, and the beneficiaries. In family trusts, often the beneficiaries are your family members. You're the creator or founder. I'm going to use the word creator in these videos. And you can also manage the assets in the trust that you put in the trust, or you can get other people to do it, independent trustees. There's a general consensus that trusts are for the wealthy. I'd like to make the point that everyone has a trust. You came into this world under trust, and you will always be in this world as a beneficiary of a trust or some trust, the living trust. This is written about in spirituality and religion all over the world. Whether we acknowledge it as a trust or not doesn't take away from the fact that it exists. In spiritual context, whatever your concept of the supreme being, God, the creator, the living universe, living mind, whatever you want to call that entity, that supreme divine entity, I use the term living mind. The living mind, the collective conscious of the universe, created this universe, founder, settler, for the benefit of us all. And it's definitely a benefit because everything we need to survive and live has been given to us. We are the beneficiaries of the great trust. Who is the trustee? Personally, we can look at the trustee, or I look at the trustee as mind, my mind. Through my thoughts, myself as this living physical entity, this physical living being, is the beneficiary of my thoughts. My mind being the trustee for the benefit of my body. So you have the three elements there. You have a creator, you have the trustee, you have the beneficiary. When you are born, you have a creator, a mother and a father, that also serve as trustees in most cases, though you can be born and have other people serve as a trustee of your early life, making sure you have everything and that you're able to benefit from the management, their parental management. They serve as trustees of another type of trust. Now, we're all in that trust individually. We all have our creator, parents. We have somebody who's managing that trust, the trustees, and we are the beneficiaries. Now, there are problems when someone, trustees or the creator, is not doing their part. Usually, the problem is with the trustee. How good we are as parents determine how good we are as trustees of our personal living trust with our children, our beneficiaries. A trustee can also be a grandmother. That trustee can be an auntie. When the trustee of our own personal living trust is managing the assets of the trust, be it the family income, the homes or apartments or houses that we live in, our education that we're receiving, the knowledge that and wisdom that we're receiving are all duties of the trustee, whether it's the grandmother, whether it's your mother, your father, or a combination of family members or whatever your trustee situation is. My point is, we are living in trust. The universe is a trust. It's one giant trust. And what has happened through the years from ancient time to now, and the reason I say from ancient time from now is because if you look at the relationship between the king, the people, and the universe, there's another trust relationship there. The chief of the tribe is trustee of the land. And you see this in different parts of the world. Since the beginning of time, it appears as though this trust relationship where a chief or a king has managed the affairs of the land, the affairs for the benefit of the people. Right now in South Africa, if you want land in the rural areas, you have to go to the chief. There's no buying land. You go to the chief gives you some land to manage and take care of, but there's no ownership. Chief is serving as trustee of a divine trust where you are the beneficiary. And this relationship exists whether we accept it or not. Now, in law, in man's law, woman's law, human law, the idea of the trust has moved to a legal entity or a legal agreement between the grantor, the creator of the trust, and trustees for the benefit of some people known as the beneficiaries. Okay, so now that I've shown that you're part of a trust, whether you accept it or not, now it's time to look at the benefits of a trust in this physical life that we're living. Why have one? I will be going deeper into the reasons why you need a trust, a legal trust, written trust, although you can also have oral trusts and they'll still be valid. You need a written trust for your family and you need a trust for business. You don't need a trust to do business. There are a lot of businesses that are trusts. Many of the largest companies in the world are trusts. But one of the beauties of a trust is that you can call it anything. Many of your mortgages, many of the world's mortgages are held in some type of trust. And there are business and financial reasons why that's done. The largest corporate prison in the United States, I believe it's called Corrections Company of America, CCA, is a trust. It's a trust company, a business trust. Real estate investment trusts, when you look at the total property value under asset management in real estate investment trusts, I believe the figure is $3.5 trillion worth of property in real estate investment trusts. But for some reason, trusts don't get the attention in the public, in the media, that corporations and LLCs get. LLC is very popular right now. And when you compare, and I've done this on the website, when you compare business trusts to other types of business entities, corporations, LLCs, partnerships, you see that the business trust has many, many advantages over the other entities. I'll go into that in later videos. But in this video, I just want to highlight the fact that trusts are not just for wealthy people. A trust can be used as a tool to generate income and maintain income. Manage, maintain. Publicly, there seems to be the general idea that trusts are only for the wealthy, and it's only something that they use to manage the money of the family, which is true. True in the sense that it's the best tool for the management of generational wealth, the management of family wealth that there is. It is the best tool, and it's not a secret, it's not a surprise that wealthy people use family trust to maintain and keep wealth in the family and manage the wealth through the generations, to manage the wealth throughout the generations. But I want to talk about, in this video, why it's important to have a trust, why it's important to have a trust even if you're not wealthy. To think about a trust, and I think this is the reason why it's not talked a lot about in public. When you think about life insurance and when you think about trust, you're thinking about your mortality. That's something that doesn't have value until you pass away, until you transition. Now, what I'd like to highlight in my series of videos is the benefit of having a trust and using a trust as a tool while you're alive, with the added benefit of your assets moving to your heirs when you transition. So your hard work is not going to probate court and probate taxes or estate taxes and lawyers' fees. Even with a will, wills can still go through probate, especially if somebody wants to contest the will. There are other reasons why just having a will doesn't ensure that your estate won't be mangled, even if you have a will. But that's not the topic of this video. The point is, there are many, many ways to use a trust to generate income, to generate wealth. It's just not popular. It's not talked about. And this is a vast, vast subject, and I won't do it justice in the 20 minutes or so that this video will be, which is why I decided to do a series and do it in parts. If you do nothing but create a trust, and whatever your current assets are, and put those in it, and this is with the belief or the if you do nothing else but that, your children are in a better position, or whoever your beneficiaries are. Trust is superior than a will. It's superior to a will. They can be used together, which is recommended, but a trust is superior. You can if you only have a trust, you're in a better position than having just a will. Now, I want to focus on the living uses of a trust. Revocable trusts, there are two types of trusts, revocable and irrevocable. And then all the other many variations of trusts come from those two classifications of trusts, revocable and irrevocable. With a revocable trust, you have a lot more freedom to put things in, take things out, and generally manage your affairs and not have property in your name or have your assets in your name. Why don't you want assets in your name? You generally, to protect yourself against creditors and other liability and court lawsuits and things like that. But with an irrevocable trust, depending on how your trust is set up, you may or may not have that protection that you hope to have. That will be dependent on how the trust is set up and depending on the skill of your trustees. Skill meaning skill in managing a trust, law, finance law. Now, irrevocable trusts are a little bit different, and then still the strength of the irrevocable trust is also on you as the creator and that of the trustees. And just the general proper construction of your trust document will determine ultimately how well protected your trust is from creditors and liabilities and things like that. Now, the point in this video is how can you use a trust to generate wealth? The best way, in my opinion, to have the greatest jump in income, wealth, while you're here and when you pass away is you can use a family trust or you can use a life insurance trust, which is called an ILIT, irrevocable life insurance trust. If you have a family trust and you use a whole life insurance policy, your whole life insurance policy, or if you take out policies in your children's names, those policies generate income known as cash value. Cash value in whole life insurance policy builds every month, every time you pay the premium. And after about 3 or 4 years, you have enough cash value to start doing things with, using it in your daily life, depending on what your premium is and depending on how long you allow the cash value to accumulate. Some people live off the cash value of their whole life insurance policies. No job, just living off the income from the insurance policy. Sounds sweet to me. Not only do you get to use the policy while you're alive to live in comfort, freedom, and joy, love, when you transition, that all passes to your children. They get the death benefit as well as the cash value, depending on the policy. These are all things that should be taught, but it's not taught. So people like myself do what we do. Teach people the value of trust. I will do other videos explaining the benefits, living benefits of the trust. That's just one. Before I finish this video, I want to end on the mental benefit of creating a trust and not having any assets to put in it. Okay, that might seem strange to some people. Why create a trust if I don't have any assets to put in it? Particularly if you're young, teens, 20s, 30s. To be making that statement is the same as saying, I don't plan to have any assets to put in my trust. And when or if I do have any assets to put in a trust, I'll create one. The problem with the statement is that you plan wealth. It doesn't just happen. Part of step one is your belief in your acknowledgement of the fact that I plan to have assets to put in my trust. First thing I need to do is create a trust. And as I work out my plan over the years, I will consistently add assets to the trust or add value to my trust. And through each generation, we will add value to that trust. Yes, if you're already wealthy, you need to protect your income. If you're not wealthy yet, create the trust and teach the value of it so that when you're not around, your beneficiaries of the trust understand the importance of keeping it generational, whether it's your own personal family or your family as a whole. Aunts, uncles, grandparents, grandkids. you need to trust. Regardless of what your income is, if you're already wealthy, you need to protect your income. If you're not wealthy yet, create the trust and teach the value of it so that when you're not around, your beneficiaries of the trust understand the importance of keeping it generational. More videos to come. Stay tuned. Thank you for listening. Enjoy your day.